Okay, wanted to come back and redo this video. I've changed a couple things. So I'm going to run through this again and kind of give some more in-depth detail. I missed a couple things on how to assign one of the functions. So we're going to go to the links up top here. Model type, I'm using airplane, normal and normal. We'll go down to frequency here. This is where I'm using general and multi-2. I am using the S.bus cable with Naza. Come down to the functions here. This is going to be channels 1 through 4. That's going to be how it comes standard. If not, probably want to change it up like that. It shouldn't be any different than that. This is the second screen. This is the one that's probably most important here, especially using S.bus, how it's pre-assigned. So I changed aux 4 to channel 5. That's going to be my LD channel, which is going to be right here. So this controls the gain for my Naza, and I have that preset up. That's going to be with the X1 channel. Channel 6, I have VPP. That's unused right now. You can use that for intelligent orientation control, and you'll set that up just like channel 7 basically. And channel 7 being the gear channel, I've assigned that to the SE switch, which is right here, and that's for my 3-position toggle for normal, altitude, and GPS. So those are the functions there. You can go to the next screen. You can see I blanked them out, and then 4 I just left those alone, not using that either. Those aren't even active. Okay, so go back here. Reverse channels 1 through 4. This is what got me on the assistant software. Got normal across the board for all stick input. 5, 6, and 7, that's going to depend on how you have your channel, how you want your switches to be forward or backwards. Failsafe, throttle. You'll see throttles at negative 50%. I'll show that in the next video on the actual assistant and how you get that and why. We'll go to the next screen here. The gear, that's 35. That's also the failsafe, which pushes the slider into the failsafe position upon flipping off the power. So I'll show that as well, but the reason why you want to have that throttle in there as well as Naza requires minimum 10%. So we'll show both of those in the next video. These are all just off as well. And then endpoint, left everything normal here. All my limits are all 35 across the board. Travel's all 100 on the first screen, which is 1 through 4. Screen 2, reason this is going to be a little different here is this is what gets your Naza, the assistant, to register your positions. So when you first start to set it up, these are not going to register in manual, altitude, and GPS. That's what actually moves that endpoint and gets it in that position. So I'll definitely run through that, and as you can see, all the others just left alone. Okay, so that is the first section for the links. Now the model menu, the only thing that you'll do in here is you're going to go to the program mix, okay, and this is where you're going to actually assign, and you're going to have a master slave setup basically. This is what you're going to use your SF switch. That's going to be your forced failsafe, and that's going to force you into failsafe no matter what you're in as far as the 3-position switch. So first thing you'll do is I'm going to bypass this first screen. You're going to want to go to the second screen, and you're going to want to change this to gear and gear. So these have to be gear, gear. Okay, then you're going to assign the switch. So that's where you assign your switch. You'll select that, and you assign it to whatever switch you want. I chose this because it's right next to my 3-position. So I've got SE and SF. And then once you assign the switch, you'll activate it because that will say inhibited, so you'll want to turn it on. The reason that says off right now is because this toggle's in the back position. And when I flip it forward, you're going to notice that it says on. So when I flip it back, it's off. Flip it forward, it's on. Okay. So simple enough. It just recognizes the position. This is in this assistant software. I'll definitely show this. This is when you actually go through your position, and I'm moving my 3-position switch. So I'm using manual, altitude, GPS. So we've got manual, altitude, and GPS. And what it does, it triggers it on those points to put it into failsafe. That way, when you have your SF, see how it goes on. So failsafe on. And that's what's going to enable it to trigger in all those locations correctly on the assistant software. So we will get to that. That's going to be a little bit quicker, a little faster part 1 of this. Really, if you're looking for anything else, you can let me know. Give me a message if you're looking to set up your timer. You'll always, if you want to start it off throttle position, J3 is what your stick input is. So you'll notice I have it at about 10%, so the second I bump up, timer starts, okay? And then the second that I lower the stick down below about 10%, it stops. You'll also notice that I have the reset right here as the SH. So I have that set to here. So when I flip that, you'll see the timer gets reset. So simple enough. That is going to be that there. So we'll move on to the Naza Assistant. I'll go ahead and plug in the quad, and we'll get this rolling here. We'll plug it in and see what we've got.